Brand new episode of CNB. Thank you for joining us. I'm Siddharth Vinayak Partnkar. You've got a little bit of a preview of what's coming up, so no suspense, and which is why we will get to that new BMW 7 Series first up. Now, I say new, but of course it is the update on the current generation car, but it's got a whole lot that's enough to possibly excite even the most discerning buyer, and there's a particular target, a particular intent behind all of this, and we will tell you all of that in our review. The new BMW 7 Series is all set to storm in. Now, this is still the 6th generation car, but with a lot that has changed on it.
Now, it's such a huge facelift that I'm almost reluctant to call it that. I'm not the only one. Even within the company, there are many who are saying that, look, this kind of goes beyond being an LCI, as BMW calls it. So we are still going to call it a facelift because it has come in the middle of the generation cycle. So, sticking to that, the point that has to be taken into account, why did such a massive change have to be carried out in terms of the styling especially? Well, here's the thing. A large part of the feedback on the current generation car has come from people saying that, look, the car doesn't look stately enough. It doesn't look as opulent or imposing as something like this should, especially when you compare to the competition. And so, where is most of that feedback coming from? China, because more than 40% of the 7 Series family sells in China. Yes, so it's no surprise that Chinese buyers therefore had a lot to perhaps contribute in a sense to what's finally happened when it comes to the actual changes, the actual facelift.
So yes, the idea was to get the car into a higher echelon and also get its sales moving. One look at it and you certainly will know right away that this is a new car for sure.
Updated laser lights and the overall housing has gotten a lot slimmer. That's part of that intentional new design language that you're seeing from BMW. I will get to the elephant in the room, the rather big one, in just a bit, but let me get through some of the other stuff. The hood has been completely redesigned to give the car a more upright, taller, straighter, vertical kind of a look, and it's also what you see in the bumper, a lot more straighter, more upright, standing kind of a proportion. You see it in the fenders, you see it at the rear, in the rear bumper, as well as the rear fenders too, and the logo. So when they did all this, they realized that the car's existing logo was looking, well, it kind of disappeared. And so they had to make that about 12 millimeters larger in diameter as well. So largest BMW logo ever. Speaking of which, let's come to that thing that everybody wants to talk about when it comes to this car, the grille. You think it's bigger? Yeah? Well, yes, it's bigger. It's a whole lot bigger. And speaking of the largest in BMW's history, yes, this grille is the largest too. Now, the X7 is the most upright, the tallest grille that they've ever done for the kidney grills, but this is the widest, and so in terms of surface area, this is the biggest that they've ever done. Why? Well, we already talked about how the car needed to look a little more opulent and all of that, so I won't go there, but you're wondering how much bigger it is, right? That's the thing you want to really know. You won't be able to guess this one. 47% bigger than the one on the outgoing car, believe it or not.
47% bigger. Wow, that is almost hard to believe, right? I have to say that when I saw the early pictures of this facelift, I was quite mortified by that grille. Having spent some time with the car, I have surprised myself. It has not just grown on me, quite literally, I actually kind of like it now. The window glass is now 5.1 millimeters thicker than before, and there's also extra insulation inside the rear wheel arches, and the fact that the cabin is quieter is true. At the back, the car looks quite handsome. The full stretch LED light strip stays on with the front daytime running lights. The new look tail lights have a rather sculpted look and are attractively designed. The powerful diesel is the 750D with 400 horses, and then there's the 320 horsepower 740D model. And while the 730D uses the same inline 6 engine as those two, it is tuned to 260 bhp and has 620 Nm of torque. The gearbox is the same across the range. I had the 750 Li X Drive with me, though I did get my hands on the 745 LE. That's the plug-in hybrid variant, but only briefly. But while India is getting the 730 LD, we won't get the V8 model. Instead, we'll have the 740 Li, and both cars will be long wheelbase and assembled at BMW's plant in Chennai. In addition to them, there'll also be a range-topping imported variant, the M760 Li X Drive. Yup, all-wheel drive and all the bells and whistles. And loads of power, courtesy a monster V12. Back to the car I was driving though. The 750 Li has the V8 motor with its twin-scroll turbos placed within the engine's V. Power is increased now at 520 bhp and you get a lot of torque, 750 Nm, starting at just 1500 rpm.
Despite being a long wheelbase, the car will still go. I mean, you put it into sport mode especially, it also sounds really nice. And yeah, the response, the overall handling, the acceleration, all of it is pretty instant. And it remains at its core a driver's car, which is such a relief. Unlike some of its rivals, which are kind of large and floaty.
The drive dynamics are what will get you straight away. The car is just as agile and comes across as even a tad more powerful now. It is quick and I suspect can outrun a few glorified sports cars in a straight line. As is the case with most cars and especially luxury offerings these days, the big focus is on technology. And being the company's range topper, the 7 Series is brimming with it too.
Flagship sedan for BMW, so no surprise of course that with that massive update, you also get the latest 7th generation iDrive, so ID7 as they like to call it, and which is the most updated, the most current, the most plugged in, the most connected, the most intuitive, and also the most accessible iDrive interface that we've seen so far. The first time we saw it was on the X5, we then got it on the, the 3 Series I guess is where I saw it next, and then more recently on the X7 as well. The whole point here being that that's where the focus is going, right? Everything is changing towards being very much connected and digital. The only thing I find a little bit of a miss, you have wireless phone charging, it's right up here, which is great from a European or an American context, but what about the Indian context? Shouldn't the wireless charging have been back there? Speaking of back there though, the other good update, those standard screens in the back for individual entertainment. Thank God that touch screen now.
And that rear seat is ample, comfortable, and can be configured as a bench or with individual reclining seats. Optional equipment ranges from massage functions, the touchscreen entertainment packages, and much, much more. And then of course there's also the virtual assistant.
Hi BMW, I'm feeling stressed.
I have activated the Relax program.
Hi BMW, end the program.
Cancel.
Hi BMW, end Relax program.
The Relax program is already activated.
Hi BMW, stop the Relax program.
The Relax program is already activated.
Hi BMW, deactivate Relax program.
Hello, what can I help you with?
Deactivate Relax program.
The Relax program is already activated.
Yeah, I feel really relaxed right about now because I'm not frustrated at all. Luckily, you can do it manually.
Too much technology, right? But we better get used to talking to our cars to get things done, as the speech recognition is only getting better and more all-pervasive, and also a lot more intuitive. So the new updated 7 Series has enough going for it to truly stand tall as BMW's flagship product. It is capable and clever, and also looks the part more convincingly now. It's also still a lot more fun to drive than most rivals, should owners ever get out of the back and get in the driver's seat. And that, for me, is what makes it truly special once again.
Now the hybrid version drives